Hey everybody, this will be video number 3 of these little poems, but words to live by, and I just had to share this last one. It's called Ideas by John Dewey, philosopher and teacher, and the quote he chose was, "When men have realized that time has upset many fighting faiths, they may come to believe that the ultimate good is better reached by free trade in ideas." That's by Oliver Wendell Holmes. There has never been a time when it was as important as it is today to take into our heads the spirit that inspires these words. In a time of extreme distress and uncertainty, we reach out blindly for some final and finished truth. Justice Home reminds us that truth is a matter of never-ending search. In a time of longing for external authority, he reminds us that the open mind, manifested in free search and free discussion, is the sole method of conducting the search with safety and assurance. In a time when reasonableness and intelligence are undergoing eclipse, he reminds us that fact, discovered by continued inquiry, is the long run, the only ground upon which realization of human desires can be attained. All of these are just phenomenal quotes. I mean, I'm probably going to pick them out a little bit at a time, but this book was written in it's broken into 4 chapters. Man and himself, man and his God, philosophy in the making, man and his society and its philosophy in the making. And this book was written in the late 40s, I think. Great little book, so hope you enjoyed that little clip. These have been very inspiring for me to read, and especially knowing that this book being written 60 years ago is just as valid yesterday as it was today. And when we study philosophy and put down our secondary ideals and beliefs, we start to see a pattern of recognition, and we need more conference on these subjects, and we also need more agreement or disagreement among particular subjects, not based on preconceived notions, not based upon dogma or superstition, but based upon the experiences of mankind in general. So when we're fighting amongst ourselves, we're not accomplishing anything. But to think that we will never fight, or to think that we can stop debating and arguing, is a ludicrous idea in itself, because we need these disagreements, I guess, in order to come to a point of reckoning where we can all agree on one particular subject. There's never going to be agreement without disagreement. Therefore, people are going to have to prove to themselves what is right by their experience. And I think we all know that, but it's like I said in that passage, we want our facts straight, and it's just not going to work that way. There's always going to be some degree of disagreement among every subject. I was watching Spirit Science earlier, and I have my opinions on Spirit Science. I wanted to make a video just about it, but it's been very inspirational and interesting for me to watch these shows. However, from the very first time I watched it, I picked it apart, I said, how did they know that there were these Lemurians and these Atlanteans that did this and that, and they were from Mars? But there's a little bit of truth wrapped up in some of these subjects when they talk about fields and whatnot, so people get confused and they start believing that every part of it is true. And I think this is what happens with faith in religions as well, that there is an ounce of truth in some of it, and people assume that all the rest of it is true as well. And the same thing happens with politics. When a person finds out that the right-wingers are doing this, then they believe that everything else must be true about them too, or the left wing is doing this. So a real disagreement, a real argument, is supposed to have a resolution that all people can agree on to an extent, Democratic system is not the best system, but it's the best system we have right now. If 51% want to vote on a particular thing and say this is what's important, and that's how we're going to, base our laws, we have to live with the repercussions of that. But as far as the search for knowledge, I think that it has to be something that is distant and separate from us as individuals. And that's the most important part in my eyes, is that we have to separate our ego from our searching. And it's hard to do because we're humans and we're wrapped up in our own shit. So goes life. Peace and love, everybody.